Hey, it's Dave. Welcome back to my channel. That opening song is one of my favorites. That is the Sanford Townsend Band with Smoke from a Distant Fire. One of my favorites. I love his voice. I love the sound of the band. I love the guitar solo. Everything about it I love. Ed Sanford later co-wrote with Michael McDonald on I Keep Forgetting. But other than that, I really don't know much what he did. It's a great song. Anyway, so I don't know if anyone has seen, I wanted to talk a little today about signature guitars because I saw that Fender now is selling or going to be making for 2019 the Jimmy Page Telecaster. And for those who care, the two of you, enough, okay? No, I'm just kidding. How many people really care about signature models? I don't know. I just can't get myself excited about, like, here's a $15,000 guitar, and I'm just guessing from past Fender stuff. Here's a guitar for 15 grand we're going to sell you. It's got every little nook that the original has to date as we see it. So who knows what nick came from when. That one of them could have came from last week. But this is going to make it like, you know, exactly like Jimmy Page's. I mean, for a piece of wall art, I think it's awesome. For a guitar to own and play, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. You know, Gibson's been doing it for years with people, and you know, I guess they wanted you to buy the Jimmy Page Les Paul because they figure you couldn't buy a '59 historic for less and just take the back nickel cover off over the humbucker. You know, so years ago when I was managing West LA, we would have meetings with Fender guys, and Fender would come in and they would ask questions, and I had this idea with them. I said to them, you know what you should do? Instead of having like 75 models of Stratocaster, why don't you just make 10? And each one very different appointments. In other words, like one will be a 56 style V-neck, and the other one will be your modern C, and the other, you know, enough so that there's a big, one will be a big fat like 1959 60 C. But so there's just, and then offer them in a lot of different colors. So if there's 10 models and there's 10 different colors, that's like 100 guitars, as opposed to 75 models with 5 different colors. But the thing that would be cool is now the dealers can act more like the way a car dealership runs. So someone comes in and they're like, I'd have a wall of pickguards, pickups, anything that they want swapped out, we can do in the shop with our authorized Fender repair guy. That would be a cool thing. And then you have, then it would be like you would have to have stores who want to be an authorized, let's call them platinum dealers. They would have to adhere to getting a guy who Fender has qualified as a repair person, and then you can put together, somebody could come in and be like, I love that guitar, but I want that pick guard, I want those pickups, and I'll be back in an hour to pick it up. Great. And then people don't, not everyone's getting the same guitar, and it's not like, I just think the way car dealerships do it, that's a cool way to do it, and it would be something fun and a little bit more interactive, so that the guy at the store would then have to be more knowledgeable. And it would just be more of like a relationship between the customer and the guy selling the guitar. Which I kind of thought they were into it, but apparently not. The other thing they said to me when we were talking, and I was ripping on them for having so many signature models, they said, do you know the Eric Clapton model is the biggest selling Strat there is? Or biggest selling Strat that they have in the American series? And I was like, you know, for, I don't know if it was for signatures, but it was like, it was a big number. I forget exactly. Don't quote me. Anyways, I was like, yeah, I could imagine clearly, because you don't have a 56. What do you have? And I said to him, what has a V-neck with vintage appointments? And he's like, well, no. Well, he goes, well, you think people care about the 56? I said, well, I think that's why they're buying it. I don't think people come in and go, oh, that's like Clapton. But if you had a black 56 that looks like Clapton's without his name on it, I think it would sell a lot more, and you wouldn't have to kick him back money. But, you know, these are the things that it's like, that they wrestle with. And it's like, is it because it's Clapton's name on it, or people want a guitar that looks like that black Strat with a V-neck, that 56? So I tend to think that not many people are coming into the store asking for the Eric Clapton because I sold them. And, you know, they played it and they're like, oh, this is different. And they kind of like it. And then I have other people asking me for V-necks and I'm like, yeah, the only one's the Clapton. And they're like, yeah, no, whatever. The point is, I just think they would have been much better off just making various appointments guitars. You know, having some variety instead of 75 flavors of vanilla with a different pick guard and calling it a different model. I think that's embarrassing. But, you know, I went to a Guitar Center show in Sherman Oaks. Yeah, it was Sherman Oaks. And they were releasing the Brownie. And it was the Eric Clapton Brownie guitar. They wanted $15,000 for it. I'm like, first of all, the original's not even made nearly as well. You know, it was handmade, but it wasn't made like with a CNC and all this stuff. And these guys who were like experienced builders and doing all this stuff, these guys were learning on the job for Leo. Leo was training people. You can watch all the old videos. It's basically like migrant workers that are basically coming into the factory and learning it as a trade. And you can see it in the early models. You can see they have the, you know, the pockets are not perfect, and they're made as well as they could have been made. Today they can be made so much better, and it's like, and then they go back and they're imitating these guitars and selling it for, you know, $15,000 for the Brownie. When I could sit there, and I don't remember what year the Brownie was. Let's say the Brownie was a 57, which I don't really know if it is. If it is, cool. But let's just say it was a 57 Strat. You could buy a 57 custom shop for $3,500 to $4,000. You could buy them used because they're relic. You could buy them used for like $2,500. Or you could get it with the Eric Clapton where somebody took a stencil of where it says, I don't know if it's Eric Clapton or Brownie, I forget what it says on the case. Is that worth $15,000? And then what are you going to do? You're going to break it out and be like, someone's going to see that with the stencil. You're going to be like, oh, did you buy that off Clapton? No. This is a copy I got for $15,000. That is a good purchase. I'm just kidding. It's terrible. Anyway, so I could say I'm not excited about it. Now, before all you naysayers are like, I like the signature models. Okay, so what? I'm just saying, not that I don't, but even as a retailer, when I worked in that aspect, most people don't really care. See, now, like the Silver Sky is something different because that's like a John Mayer model, but he's made it with PRS to become like a new model for them. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's like that is the model. Whereas a Strat's a Strat. If you put Jeff Beck's name on the Strat because you copied how his looks and everything, I just think that we've missed the point. You know, to me, it would be like you go into a Home Depot and there's two identical hammers next to each other. And one engraved on the handle says Mike Rowe. And the other one doesn't. The other one is the one that Mike Rowe uses. What now? One hammer is, you know, $9.99 and the other one is $50, but they're the identical hammer. That's how I look at it. They're both tools, and one of them has a guy who works with tools name on it because that's the one he uses, his signature model hammer. And then there's the hammer that he actually uses, which is the same thing that doesn't bear his name. That's how I look at any type of signature model guitar. Now, people have seen me play and they might think that I'm playing the signature model David Gilmour guitar. I am not. That is a black 2009, what do they call that guitar? They changed the name. It's the Deluxe V. Now, it has the Deluxe bridge that I like. I changed the pickups out. But the only thing I did to make it that you could think it was like Gilmour's, I love that black on black pickguard that Gilmour has. So I called Woolworth. I got a 1-ply 90 thou pickguard, and I put it on. It looks like his, but it's not his. And it doesn't have his name anywhere on it. And it's not like I did it to look like him. I did it because I like the look. Just like if you saw two guys playing a black Strat next to each other. You saw Clapton and Gilmour playing. One is a white pickguard, one ply. One is a black pickguard, one ply. And then you go by and you're like, oh, I love the way that Clapton one looks. And you go to the store and they only had the Gilmour looking one, like that was the normal one. You would go buy a white pickguard and put it on because you like the look, not because you want to be like Eric Clapton and you want to walk around like, I have his guitar, so I'm, whatever. Anyways, like I said, I think it's an art piece, the Jimmy Page one. I don't even know what it's called, the Dragon Telly or something. I'm not even sure, but whatever. I just, it's not for me. But, I mean, it'll be cool to see what it is and to see, whatever. I guess it will be cool to see. I'm not sure. You know what is cool to see? I was in Target today and I saw they have the Atari 2600 and it's called the Flashback. So it's HDMI and HD. The controllers are wireless and it has 120 games. And I'm like, man, I should get that. So then I went on YouTube and I looked at the video quality to see what it looked like. And I'm like, boy, they look like crap. But, I was thinking about it. I'm like, today people play like Fortnite and those games. And those games take commitment. I mean, you've got to really commit to that game and put some hours in. I can play Space Invaders for a half hour, throw the joystick down and walk away, come back and be like, I'll just start from the beginning again. I don't care. It's just a way to burn time. The graphics might be a little bit better on Fortnite. I'm not really sure. I'm kidding, obviously. But anyways, if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm watching Alan Ludden hosting Password on Buzzer, Buzzr. It's like a new channel of old game shows, which I love. So other than that, I have a podcast that's going to be coming out. It's going to be called Guitar Talk with Dave and John. John used to work at West LA Music, and then he's worked for Cordoba Guitars, and he's worked for Korg. And the two of us will be discussing various things. It won't be just a one-on-one. I'll still be doing this show on this channel. I'm not sure where I'll be posting the podcast. I will post a sample, or I might post the first few episodes here on my channel. You can message me if you want to see the one sample that I did make, because it's kind of unlisted on YouTube. However, it is, just message me at dave44levine@outlook.com. And or you can message me at Dave's Guitar Channel on Facebook, which is a group, which you can belong to that as well. I am also on Twitter at The Big Angry, and I am on Instagram as Dave_Levine. I think the Pats have started now, so I'm going to go watch that. Very good.
Idiot. Oh, fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot.
You're right on target. You're right on the money. Everything you said. You hit the nail right on the head with your comments, what you're saying today. You're 150% correct.